Have you ever been in a gas station and seen the metal art there? It's always ridiculously expensive, and it leaves you wondering who actually buys this. Well, today I'm going to walk you through the steps of making metal art such as that. If you've ever been to the fair in town, it's crazy how much money these things make. Today I will be building a soda can robot to instruct you on the steps you can follow to make metal art of your own. First, let us talk about why you should make metal art. Welding is a primarily utilitarian skill. You won't find many people welding for fun, just for pipes and stuff. And there is genuine money to be made there. I just think it's more fun to make stupid stuff with it. I think there's a lot to be said about artistic expression through limitations. By taking little pieces like this and welding it together to make something cool, I think that takes more skill than something like a painting would, where you can just do whatever you want. The obvious first reason to do this is because you'll make filthy money off of it. The average piece of work sells for about $50 to $70. Unfortunately, it can be hard to get your foot in the door. It costs a good chunk of money to purchase a welder and other supplies. However, I think it is well worth the cost. Unless you're a kleptomaniac such as myself, it can be hard to get your foot in the door. A welder is average $200, rod is $30 for 5 pounds. A helmet like this costs about $50, and all this, you gotta fend for yourself. Alright. It also helps to draw it out on paper beforehand so you have a solid vision of what you want to do. Okay. Yeah. Proper clothes are very important in this line of work. You're dealing with intense heat, you can get shocked, so it's important to wear proper protective such as a welding helmet, gloves, and you don't usually coveralls, but I don't have any of those, so I like to wear clothes I can burn holes in without feeling bad. Now I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to take this soda can and turn it into this thing. Alright. First, I'm going to warm up with a set of tack welds. These are short, little welds that you use to hold 2 bits of metal together. Then, of course, I'll remember to open up my ventilation system. Now, because soda cans are made out of aluminum, you can't exactly weld them together, so I'm going to take that small little round bit and use it to hold the can together with small, shorter ones on the sides to hold it in place. Silly me, I seem to have forgotten that even my 6011 rods can't go through so much rust, so I'm going to take it to my grinder to remove some rust and make the art stronger. It's left a little bit of rust on my grinder. Now I'm going to get started on the legs. I'm going to take a screw and another doodad and weld them together to make the upper thigh. I'm also going to make sure to get in the way of the camera when I start welding. Boom shakalaka. Now we repeat this 3 more times. Now I'm going to tack on a nail, which will serve as the leg and foot. Now let's put the legs on their main body.
Now that that's done, let's move on to the arms. For this part, I'm going to weld an old combine blade onto a screw. I had to be careful not to burn through because the combine blade was so thin. I had to attach my ground, which is how we get the electric arc through, onto the piece of metal I was directly welding on because the arc was so thin through all these welds. Now I'll re-weld on the bottom of that piece just to be sure it doesn't break off under the weight. I'm going to make a crab claw looking thing out of pre-cut trash I dug out of the CNC machine, more screws. Now I'll attach it to the main body. I'm not actually very pleased with how the angling ended up, but I couldn't very well break it off and try again without snapping that whole piece off. Here's some glamour shots of the finished product. The audio here messed up, but let me tell you the gist of what I'm saying. Yes, the welding art is tedious, but it's also very rewarding. I think it's very satisfying to take small pieces of metal and make them into something new. One man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say. Now, it is expensive, and it is hard to get your foot in the door, but I think it's very fun, and yes, it does make a lot of money. Not that I'd know. Amen.